Okay. Hello, sociology class, second period. Hi. I have a special interview today. This is my friend Harry from Ireland. If you want to just introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Harry Cullen from Cork in Ireland, which is in the southern part of the country.
So yeah.
Um,
Anything else up?
well, I'm 21 years old. I'm studying music and German in university. I suppose that's all that's really that important.
He's a really good musician. Anyway, so I just have some questions just about 9/11, just to get some perspective about someone who isn't from the country. See what their thoughts are.
hmm
Now, did you actually find out about what happened at the World Trade Center on 9/11?
yes, I did. It would have been later on in the day though, because it happened in the morning over there in America, but we're 5 hours ahead over here.
Right.
Of New York, so it would have been on my way home from school. We would have started getting reports in on the radio of what had happened, really.
Right. Were you at school at the time?
Yes, I would have been in fifth class. I would have been 11 years old.
Oh, okay. Did the situation, like, did it impact you at all, or how'd you
Um,
feel?
Curiously enough, well, I think it may be to do with me as a person and my own personal leanings, but it didn't really make much of an impact on me at all at that age, particularly, and it still doesn't really. It hasn't really impacted on my life at all. I don't know anyone who was involved in it in any way, shape, or form. I know it was an awful, terrible thing for a lot of people, but there have been many, many awful, terrible things in a lot of different places, so I think I just look at it in a very objective kind of way.
Right, absolutely. And just in like a bigger scope, would you say that how you feel kind of relates to how like Ireland feels about it? Like, wasn't really impacted by it?
I don't think so, really, because obviously there are a lot of Irish people over in America, and a lot of Irish people here have many family connections, especially with that part of the USA. So many people here would have had connections with people involved in it, and I think Irish people in general do have a tendency to have a great capacity to empathize with other people anyway. I I'm not one of those people.
No, I understand. Obviously, probably age had a lot to do with it too.
Well, I don't know whether I'd say that I don't empathize. I do empathize. It I don't get shocked by it, I don't think. And I think a lot of people here were shocked by it and still are, so
Right.
I don't know.
Um, I heard a lot of stories about like, especially on the 10th anniversary of 9/11 yesterday. A lot of people in like some European countries, like in France and Spain, even England, like there were people like, crying, giving their condolences to the Americans who lost people, in 9/11. Is there kind of the same thing that happens in Ireland? Like, are people as
Um,
emotional?
I'm sure there were people who were, but they kept it to themselves as far as I can tell. A lot of people were um quite emotional about it, and there was a ceremony here marking the deaths of Irish Americans and Americans in general in and anyone who was involved in 9/11 on 10 years ago.
Right.
So,
So like even today, would you say that like 9/11 is still televised in Ireland? Like it's still kind of made a big deal of.
um, I think not really as much anymore. It has been in obviously in very recent times because of the 10th anniversary, but I think it had by and large fallen out of memory well, not out of memory, but fallen out of common memory um by and large.
If you don't feel comfortable answering this, that's okay. But like, has Ireland undergone like similar acts of terrorism before?
Um yes, I mean Ireland does have a long, long history of terrorism and of civil unrest ever since, well, we say, well, especially against England because of the way we were a colony of them. and particularly during the and up until the 19 and up until we became a free state in the 1920s, there was always a large amount of civil unrest against British power here. And as well in Northern Ireland, in the northern part of the country, there's a long history there, and there's still a lot of violence there to this day, even though it has quietened down a lot. Basically, though it has never been called as such, there was practically civil war there, so there is a long history of terrorism both here and in Britain by Irish terrorists, though it has quietened down quite a lot in recent years.
Would you say that like 9/11 is overplayed just compared to the terrible things that happen to Ireland and many other countries that go through acts of terror like every day?
Um, I really don't think so because, well, I don't think it is here. To be honest, I think we get an impression that it is overplayed to an extent from the American perspective. And I think we did notice a lot that, though I'm sure it won't be the same next year, that things such as the July bombings in London are not as often spoken about as 9/11, even though they were just as significant for people in London. So, yes, to answer your question perfectly, yes, I do think it is overplayed, but then I think the thing is that, as has always been the case throughout history, people just, there is no language that can be used to convey horror such as that, or such as the Great War, 1914-18 war, any of those things. And I just think there is no accurate way to express such things, so I think people are still trying to find a way to do so.
Right. Um, and just a couple more questions. Like during 9/11 personally, did you feel that your safety was in jeopardy?
Not at all, no.
No.
No, not at all.
Right. And so I guess that would be the same thing 10 years later, you know.
Yeah, uh, no, nothing. The only thing that changed was well, a couple of things did change as a result, such as security measures for us going over to America and security measures in airports in general. And also, as a result of the war in Afghanistan, our airport here in Shannon was used quite controversially by American forces as a pit stop along the way, which was a lot of people objected to, and I personally did as well, but that's another story.